Greetings, automotive enthusiasts. Welcome to another Tales from the Trip. And this is actually just a local one here in town. Hello, Becky. Becky just got back from a horse show this weekend and just got in last night about 10:30.
Yes.
And of course, what do? I drag her out and say, let's go look at a car.
Just what I wanted to do.
What's funny is we've been on this trip now for like, I don't know, 15 minutes. We're going from the east side to west side. And then it finally dawns on Becky. She's like, what car are we going to look at?
Right.
I was like, I wondered how long it was going to take you to ask.
It took a while.
Yeah, sure, her brain's not working.
No.
Or not focusing on cars.
Not ready for this.
But this car popped up locally on Marketplace. And I always thought these were cool cars. I don't know if I've ever even seen one. It's a pretty rare car. Malaise era.
What's
in the
malaise mean for people that don't know? You say malaise to most people, they don't even know what you're talking about.
Well, just think about the word malaise. It's just kind of bland. It's kind of like non-exciting, they call it the malaise era just because the performance was down, the quality, the style, whatever, just look up malaise in the dictionary.
I know, I'm just saying, there's probably a few people that don't really know what that means.
Well, that's a good point.
Right.
But it's funny, so I still haven't told Becky what it is that we're going to look at. Maybe I shouldn't tell her. Maybe I should just surprise her. But I don't know that I've ever seen one before in person.
Nothing would surprise me at this point. What we'd be going for.
But I mean, I've seen.
Have you seen some of the stuff?
But I mean, there's not many cars I haven't seen. But I don't know that I've seen one of these cars. It's a really rare. It's a pretty darn rare car, and there's not many left. And this one is in.
So what year range are we talking?
Early 80s. Early 80s. Yeah. So the Malaise era is kind of like the mid 70s to really probably mid 80s, right in that range. Right. Coming out of the muscle car era, and then in the late 80s, really things started to improve quite a bit, with performance and so on and so forth. But so the mid 70s to mid 80s is kind of pretty tough times for cars.
Right.
But that's what's interesting about that era, though, is because of the emissions and the gas shortage and all that stuff, manufacturers, I actually really like Malaise era cars because they had to use more styling. They had to come up with a lot of tricks in the bag of book to sell cars, right? So, so there's things about some Malaise cars that you just don't find. Some good things, yeah, they're slow and so on and so forth, and things are downsized and that sort of thing. But, they come out with some really unique styling stuff, just like the Mustang, GT350 convertible we just got,
Right.
I mean, it's really cool styling, and actually, as the Mustangs, the Fox bodies, they restyled them in the, in '87, with the composite headlights and stuff. But actually, they really kind of boring. That's why the four-eyed Foxes are really kind of cool. Right. They just got more style and character. They had to make up for it. Think about like all of the early '80s, Camaros and Firebirds and all the crazy graphics and all that stuff.
Right.
Because they had to do something to sell cars. But you just don't see that stuff anymore.
Right.
This car actually has got quite a history, quite a story.
Well, I just can't wait to see it.
Yeah, I bet. I bet.
I am on pins and needles.
Yes, I'm sitting on pins and needles. So I don't think I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
I don't know.
Let's just keep it a secret. Let me be surprised.
Yeah, it's in a storage unit. A local older gentleman's had it for quite a few years, and he actually sought this car out. Right, like he actually bought this car from a collection, and so he actually sought this car out
specifically this car. Oh,
so,
okay.
And then I always thought they were a unique oddity, but I think actually that it's probably a more desired, more collectible car than I probably even realized, to be honest with you. And, always in the back of my mind, I kind of thought, man, it'd be cool to find a car like this. Wow. But as I kind of did some research, I did some research this weekend, and I looked up comps.
Yes.
There are none. Like, there was one, think about Bring a Trailer. They've sold over 100,000 cars, right? And usually you can go to Bring a Trailer, no matter how weird or odd it is, that's where you're going to find comps.
Right.
Because that's where all the weird, odd stuff goes.
Right.
There was one.
Wow.
that sold. One, and it sold for a pretty high price.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was kind of like, wow. And I read through all the comments on Bring a Trailer and actually learned a lot from the comments. You know, a lot of people, and I was kind of like, well, this is really, really cool. So we are
tuned.
off. So we are, yeah.
I'll be staying, I'm on pins and needles.
Yeah. I think, I mean, I don't.
Do you think I will be?
Well, did you like the Riviera?
So is it a Riviera?
No.
Yes, the Riviera was amazing.
But it's like it's that competitor of a car.
Okay.
Right?
Well,
so it's kind of that kind of
I'm
car.
feeling it.
Yeah.
Feeling it. Okay.
And
well,
I
stay
loved
tuned.
that Riviera.
Yeah,
that was
awesome.
great.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
well,
All right.
next stop we will be seeing this beautiful piece of automotive history. All right. Well, we're here, and this car is at a storage unit, and just met the owner here, and following him in to see the car. I know, Becky, that you're just bursting with excitement.
I am.
All right, well, I didn't tell Becky what I was looking at, so I told her it's kind of a surprise. So here it is right here. Becky, it is an 83 Imperial. Yes. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
That is so cool. Wow.
Yeah.
And technically, and there's a lot of debate on this. Some people call it the Chrysler Imperial, but there's no Chrysler badges on it. You know what I mean?
Between 1955 and 83,
Yeah.
it's a separate brand.
Exactly. And you know, and Hemmings calls this a Chrysler Imperial, but actually we think that this is actually just an Imperial, like you said, a separate brand.
Everybody lists it as a Chrysler.
Exactly, they list it as a Chrysler, and so there's, you know, and we know that like the early Imperials, I mean, they were definitely like a different, unique car, but this is based off of the Monaco, I think, or something like that.
The Cordoba.
The Cordoba, that's right, based off the
And
Cordoba.
Dodge,
Murata, yeah, that's the one, Murata. Let's take a little walk around. Becky, what do you think? I told you. We do a lot of, I'm a dealer and a collector, and so we do a lot of unique and oddball cars, and we do videos and different things on them. And this definitely qualifies. You would have never, you'd have never guessed this. I mean, did you even know this car existed?
I mean, it kind of looks familiar to me, but
Yeah?
it kind of looks like a Lincoln.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Now here's a trivia question. Do you know that they raced this car in NASCAR?
They did?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that? Because when I talked to you on the phone, you actually had a lot of knowledge. It was kind of cool that you were telling me a lot about the car.
Yeah.
But they had a NASCAR. And it actually, and the aerodynamics of the car actually suited NASCAR better than the other cars. And yeah, it is. I looked it up and I'm like, they actually raced this car in NASCAR. The craziest thing ever. Let's take a look inside. It looks like it might be locked there.
I'll have to connect the battery here.
Yes, sir.
Oh, yep. Yeah, the styling.
Yeah,
back
but see,
here is very-
well, you know, here's the deal, okay? This is called a Bustle back, okay? And it throws back to the British cars of like the 30s and 40s. And here's the deal. Everybody knows the Cadillac Seville. That was kind of a famous Bustle back, and that was a love it or hate it. Lincoln had a Bustle back, you know what I mean, in the Continental, I believe, right? And this was Chrysler's Bustle back. But Lee Iacocca, when he came to Chrysler, like this car was already a project, you know what I mean? And he embraced it, and they threw everything they had at this car to make it a competitor. This car was super expensive. It's coming to life. Wow, look at that digital dash, 34,000 miles. 83 last year. Only made them 81 to 83. Only made
Here's
them.
why I think it's authentic mileage.
Uh-huh.
I did this when I bought it,
Uh-huh.
and I'm the third owner.
You're the third owner? Okay.
Although I read somewhere I was the second,
Okay.
but
Well, sometimes what happens though is there's a lot of cars that people just they move or they transfer or they put their wife's name on it, and it'll trip it as an owner, but it's really not. So I wouldn't be surprised if you're the second owner.
Okay, the first owner had it up to 18,500 miles. And this is their odometer check.
Right, right.
And that's, that was 92, and he had it 9 years.
Yes.
So he did 18,500. That's about
Right.
normal.
Right,
He
exactly.
probably drove it most of the time. All right. Then the second owner, he had it from here to here when I bought it. So, and I put 1,000 miles on it.
Right.
In 6.5.
Well, here's one thing that I did some more research, okay? And see, this is a digital odometer. It's not, you know what I mean? And so it's actually programmed, you know what I mean? So it's just not like a mechanical thing. But what I understand is actually this odometer goes to 199,000.
Oh, it does?
Yes, it actually goes to 199,000. So there's no question about the mileage on the car, because like I said, this is a 200,000 mile odometer on this car. And then obviously, and then the real tale is this. I'm going to turn my light on. And then when you're looking at these old cars, I always tell my viewers and stuff, you look at contact wear points. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's going to be pulled on every time you close the door. Look, there's zero wear. You look at the threshold right here, and I'm just looking at this obviously for the first time, but look, I mean, there is just zero wear, And then the other thing obviously is you look at the bolsters, and Becky, this has got the Mark Cross leather. Feel that? It's called the Mark Cross, and that was an option. The only option, what's funny about these cars is there was one price. You know what I'm saying?
You either had a choice of the Mark Cross or a velour.
Exactly, or a velour. And there was only one option, and it was a sunroof. Right, and that was the only option. But what's interesting is there's two different wheels. There's the simulated wire covers, and then there's what they call a snowflake wheel, right? But you paid one price. You could get the car how you wanted it, but it was one price. You know what I mean? Except for I think the sunroof was probably an ad. But I got to slide into this thing. This is interesting. I love car smells. I always talk about car smells, but and every car has a unique smell. But this is unique. This is well, just every car has its smell with the materials. But this doesn't smell like any other car. It's interesting. It smells really cool. It's kind of a neat smell. Look at the dash, steering wheel, and then the other thing here is we look down at the pedals, and yeah, this is definitely legit. Oh, and that they even had a CB radio.
Oh yeah, they did.
Yeah, that was an option. I think I like without it because it's kind of a neat quirk, but it's ugly.
And then it just adds a bunch.
Well, the thing hangs right here, and it's just ugly. This is really, I mean, even all this little fake simulated wood, but this is really, it's really pretty, Becky, when you look at all the chrome and everything. An interesting story about this car is Lee Iacocca and Frank Sinatra were friends. Yeah, and so they actually licensed a Frank Sinatra version of this car. But here's the cars that were the biggest failures are always the ones that are the most collectible and unique in the long road, right? You think about that, right? This car was a disaster for Chrysler. They lost so much money on this car. Engineering, see, they put fuel injection on this car, and that was like a big deal back then, and they had massive problems with it. They actually had a huge recall, and they actually recalled the cars and brought them back to the factory and retrofitted them with carburetors.
Oh, really?
And this is one of probably the actual few that even exists with the original fuel injection. Is that right, Ben?
That's correct.
Yes. I mean, the last year, very rare car, and none of them are surviving with the original fuel injection intact. It is really amazing. But here's the funny thing. So they licensed Frank Sinatra, and they had one that was a special blue, like to match his eyes. Yeah. It was blue on blue, and they called it Frank Sinatra edition. In 81 and 82, he had so much trouble with his car. Like, he had so much trouble with it, he got so mad, and he made him come and pick up the car, and he made him take his name off the car. So that's why in 83, there's no Frank Sinatra edition, because he said, you get my name off that car. So there's an incredible history and story with this car. But, all right. Well, here's one thing I want to check out here is I want to check I'm going to go ahead and fire it up, and then we got to check the headlights, because this is such a cool feature of the car. So when's the last time this was started?
Oh, about a week ago.
About a week ago? Okay. So here's a cold start. 34,001 on the mileage.
tell you something about the 81 and 82.
Uh-huh.
This was painted red.
Really?
Yeah.
That's kind of garish.
And on the ones that were not the spoke, but they're
The snowflake.
yeah, they had a smaller red circle.
Yeah, a little center cap. Yeah, but they were red, huh?
Yeah.
I don't think I would like that.
You know what?
That would draw attention to it. That would look weird.
And then 81 and 82, it said something like fuel injection.
It did,
on
yes.
there.
It had an emblem that said, electronic fuel injection, yeah.
And
And then they got rid of that probably because it wasn't it turned out to be it was a selling point that turned out to be a disaster.
Yeah.
How funny, how funny. But you see, Becky, look here. What's interesting is of all the Bustle backs, the Imperial pulled it off the best. I mean, look at that. I mean, it's really, look at this line, this body line coming down all the way a straight line, and then the way it come back like that. Really, really cool. I mean, the Imperial pulled it off better than anybody, but nobody even knows about it. Oh, the other thing that's kind of interesting is, Becky, these emblems, this is real crystal.
Oh, really? I was looking
Yes.
at it earlier and I thought, man, that's really pretty.
No, that's real crystal.
Oh, wow.
Yes, that is authentic crystal. Can you pop that trunk for me, Ben? And look at the one kind of weird thing was the license tag right in the middle of the trunk lit up high. That's kind of an odd feature. Oh wow, it got you the last of the Chrysler royalty.
That's, you can have that.
Yeah, that is really cool. Yeah, trunk. Smell it. It has
I
a
used
unique
that when I
smell.
had it in car shows.
Oh, okay. That is true. Huh. What
Now,
a
they had
neat
an
car.
Imperial.
Look at here.
Now that's,
Right, here we are.
Well, Becky, we went a few miles. How does that Mark Cross leather feel on your tired rear end?
It's pretty amazing.
A little more comfortable than your saddle?
Yes, very much so.
We're gonna flip around here. All right, here's that Malaise horsepower.
Hold on to your hats.
Yeah, I'm just going about half throttle. I don't want to get on it too much there.
Crystal.
I know, isn't that incredible? Look at
Crystal
this.
on the hood ornament.
I love the radio. Good time to check everything out here. Look at all these buttons and stuff. And then look at that back seat.
Yeah, it's a beaut.
And then look here at the digital dash. That is so cool. Man, this is neat.
It's
This
very
is
neat.
really neat. It's just something that's just unique about this car. Here's our brakes. Brakes are good. They're showing this embossment in the armrest right there. Mark Cross leather.
Cross.
That is so cool. This car's right there it is again.
Oh wow. Yep. How neat.
Wow. I would so much rather drive this car than like modern, Mercedes or BMW. I mean, it just the way these cars, and that's why these cars are really becoming so collectible, believe it or not, because not many survived, and they were just throwaway. I mean, they weren't throwaway cars, but just as technology changed and these cars all had their issues or whatever, a lot of people didn't save and preserve them. And half of these got bought back and crushed by the dealer.
Yeah,
but
crazy.
I know it's crazy, but it's just amazing that just the ride, and that's what people love about these cars is they're just the driving experience is just really unique to themselves. I mean, I love it. It is really incredible. All right, well, we just finished our test drive.
Yeah.
Pulling back in, and let's talk with the customer and see if we can negotiate a deal. I mean, I'm not very good at poker on this car.
No, we were just gushing over it basically the whole time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm kind of struggling.
Struggling to contain your
I'm probably gonna be
calmness.
an easy mark on this one, because
Yeah,
I can't leave without this car. I don't think I can leave without this car, Becky.
No.
I really don't think
Pretty
I can
positive
leave without
that
this
you're
car.
leaving with this car.
Yes. I mean, it needs a few things, but
Yeah.
overall though, I mean, find another one this nice. There aren't any. This is it. All right. Well, we have made a deal on the Imperial. I mean, I think he knew I wasn't leaving without this car, so it was he had pretty good. He didn't have to come down on his price much because he knew I was going to buy it, but I didn't. It's a nice car and it's a fair price, so I definitely grabbed it. So he's got the title and stuff at his house, so we're meeting him over at the house, getting the title, and he even has the crystal key. Oh man, I'm so excited about this car. Look at this thing. Oh my gosh. So I'm gonna put my phone down and put my hands on the wheel. 10 and 2. I was just noticing something. This is Cartier crystal. Holy cow. It's the real deal. Man, how cool. Here's all the keys and there's the crystal. Wow, all the stuff. All right, we're leaving Ben's here. On a Labor Day, all the flags are flying around here. And it's funny, I actually got this hat the other day and it was in my bag. And I'm like, oh, what a perfect hat to throw on here for the remainder of the day. So, hey everybody, but the reason Ben's selling the car is because he has some health issues. So, you know, for my fellow believers there, say a prayer for Ben and hope that they get his health situation sorted out. But I'm gonna drive this thing around all day. I couldn't be happier. Just tickled about this car. So as always, I appreciate you guys riding along. I hope you enjoyed this little Tales from the Trip adventure. And stay tuned, because wait till you see the full video overview on this car. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a good one. So have a great day and happy motoring.